There's a rule in Kenyan public transport that everyone who uses a matatu experiences but almost nobody can name. Fares go up fast, they come down slow. Sometimes they don't come down at all. Here's why that's not an accident. Meet James. Every morning, same stage, same route, same mat. This month, James is paying 50 shillings more than he was paying 3 months ago. He asked the conductor, why? The conductor said fuel. Which is true, but it is not the whole truth. And the part that's missing is the part that explains why James will probably still be paying that extra 50 shillings 6 months from now, even if fuel prices drop tomorrow. Let's start with what's actually true. Diesel prices in Kenya have moved sharply this year. In April 2026, EPRA increased diesel by over 40 shillings per litre, pushing Nairobi diesel to around 207 shillings. Then in May, another increased diesel up by a further 46 shillings per litre, now sitting at 243 shillings in Nairobi. That is a significant jump in a short time. Matatu operators are not lying when they say fuel costs are rising. Fuel is their single biggest operating expense. When diesel moves, the economics of running a matatu move with it. Here is the mechanism. A typical 14-seater matatu running a standard Nairobi route needs to cover fixed daily costs before the operator makes a single shilling of profit. Fuel, SACCO fees, insurance, loan repayments on the vehicle, and the conductor's cut. When diesel jumps 40 shillings a litre, that daily cost calculation shifts. The math genuinely changes. And when the math changes, fares follow. That part is logical. That part is fair. Here is the part that isn't. The National Taxpayers Association sat down and actually ran the numbers on the Nairobi-Nakuru route. A 14-seater diesel matatu covering that route consumes roughly 32 litres of diesel for a round trip. With diesel rising by about 18 shillings per litre at the time of their calculation, the additional fuel cost per round trip came to approximately 600 shillings. 600 shillings! Split across 14 passengers for a full load, that's less than 50 shillings per passenger per trip in genuine additional fuel cost. Some operators on that same route increased fares by 300 shillings per passenger. 14 passengers, 300 shillings each. That's 4,200 shillings in extra revenue per trip, against an actual fuel cost increase of 600 shillings per round trip. The conductor told James it was fuel. It was not only fuel. Now, here is where it gets structural. In April, after operators had already hiked fares, VAT on fuel was reduced from 13% to 8%. Fuel prices came down slightly as a result. The fares did not come down. The National Taxpayers Association flagged this publicly. They noted that operators had raised fares going up and kept them raised coming down. Fares go up fast, they come down slow. Sometimes they don't come down at all. This is what economists call a ratchet effect. A ratchet is a mechanical device that moves freely in one direction and locks in place in the other. It can go forward. It resists going back. Matatu fares in Kenya operate like a ratchet. Every fuel increase is a reason to raise fares. Every fuel decrease is quietly ignored until the next increase arrives and the new baseline gets locked in a little higher than before. James isn't imagining it. The fare genuinely is higher. The fuel cost justification was real. At least partially. At least initially. But the magnitude of the increase, and the fact that it didn't reverse, tells a different story, one about market structure, not just diesel prices. Here is what you actually need to know about this as a commuter. First, the fare increase you're paying is not purely a fuel pass-through. Some of it is legitimate cost recovery. Some of it is opportunity, taken during a moment when nobody was going to argue with fuel went up. Knowing this doesn't change what you pay tomorrow morning, but it does mean you should stop treating every fare hike as an inevitable act of nature. Second, the ratchet means your transport budget needs to be built around current fares, not historical ones. Whatever you were budgeting for your commute 12 months ago is probably wrong now, and the gap between then and now is unlikely to close on its own. Third, this is why operators have been pushing for fare liberalisation. Full liberalisation means market forces set the fare, not EPRA guidelines or public pressure. From the operator's perspective, That removes the friction. From the commuter's perspective, that removes the last remaining check on how far the ratchet can turn. James still gets on the mat every morning. He doesn't have much choice. But now he knows why the fare went up, why it didn't come back down, and why it probably won't, unless something changes at the level of fuel pricing, regulation, or both. The conductor said fuel. That was true. It just wasn't the whole truth. In video 1, we covered why diesel itself is rising and how that ripples through everything from food to transport. This video is where you see that ripple land in your pocket every single morning at the stage. Next week, we cover the psychology of why these price increases feel so much worse than the numbers suggest they should, and what your brain does when it feels like it can't keep up.